this is a good choice tonight. Give a hand to Dinner for One. And this is a good choice tonight. If you're looking for something to do tomorrow night, the Dyslexic Theater Company is in town, and they're doing the production of Annie Gets Your Nug. So, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm from a large Jewish family. There was never enough guilt to go around, and my parents were very liberal Jews. My parents believed in the Ten Commandments, but they believed you could pick 5. Very liberal. I went up to my rabbi one time. I said, Rabbi O'Donnell, how come Jews aren't allowed to eat pork? He looked at me and said, we're not? Those jokes are about 35 years old. My stand-up career, I was stand-up for 13 years. I was stand-up from 1980 to 1993. And if I had to describe my stand-up career, it was a lot like my bar mitzvah, because it was, for the most part, it was a very small house. Nobody understood what I was saying. There was nobody in the audience who could help me. And everybody made more money than I did. So that was my, look at me looking at the notes here. Okay. Oh, this is funny. So, what can I tell you? I'm aging, and sometimes you need people to remind you of that, even when you don't want them to. And I'll tell you a story. A few years ago, and I don't know if you remember this if you were in New York, in December, there were 2 days back-to-back in December, and in the middle of the month. The first day was a typical Manhattan December day, which was, you know, single-digit wind chill, -20, and the second day was going to be like May, and everybody knew that second day was coming. So the night of the first day, I get in the elevator in my building, and I'm going down the elevator, and a young married couple gets in the elevator with me, and they got the scarves on, and the hats, and the gloves, and a million coats, and I'm trying to start up a conversation, and I say to the woman, you know, it's going to be 68 tomorrow, and she looks at me and says, happy birthday. Well, that's one of those. A couple years ago, I had my first of 2 hips replaced, and I did it at the. Don't worry, it's coming for you. And I went to the hospital for special surgery, and I was there for a couple days, and then I go home, and then I get a call from them, you know. Hello, this is Heather from the hospital for special surgery. We were just wondering if you enjoyed your stay with us. You know, I get so married, and yeah, Heather, I plan to have all my major surgery there from now on. Okay, do you have any questions or complaints about your whole experience? I said, you know, Heather, as a matter of fact, I do. You know the guy that comes in and shaves you before surgery? Well, he only shaves the area that's going to be operated on. And I think that he should shave anywhere there's going to be tape. Because the worst pain that I endured during the time I was there was not the surgery, it was when they ripped the tape off holding the catheter. So, in conclusion, wherever there's going to be tape, they should shave. She says, oh, that's really good. Let me get a pen. Could you tell it's been a while since I've now what this? Oh, this is good. Things happen to me. Things happen to me. That's all I can tell you. Is things happen. I've written 4 books, and I don't know. I'm one of the things just happened. One time I was in San Francisco, and I was doing one of those morning news shows that was like the Today Show. You know, they have the studio that looks out into the street. and I'm waiting to be interviewed. But it's not a busy street in San Francisco, it's some side street. And so I'm in this storefront, and I'm all hooked up, and I'm waiting for the host to come over and do my segment. And I see a guy walk by the window and stop and look at me and go. So I go up to him at the window. He says, "Could you do me a favor? Could you get the weatherman's attention because I want to give him the finger?" And these are the kind of things that happen. So I have a friend. I don't know if he's still a friend, but I have a friend. And he calls me the other day and he says, "Do you know a good lawyer?" And I said, "Well, yeah, why?" He says, "Well, I decided to sue the animal hospital here in Manhattan." And I said, "Really? What happened?" He says, "Well, he sent my cats there, and I don't think they were treated very well." So I pulled them out of there, and I wrote them many letters and called them many times. And finally they said, "Listen, don't call us anymore. Don't write us anymore. Don't come back, and we'll refund the money that you paid us. This is just go away." And I said, well, good. Why are you suing them? He says, "Why am I suing them?" Because those cats have nobody to speak for them. Those cats have nobody to speak for. Those cats were abused. This is like Harvey Weinstein. I said, "Oh yeah, the Meow 2 movement." Yeah, of course. I was a stand-up for 13 years, and then I decided, the one thing I never got used to about stand-up was the inconsistencies of audiences night to night. Never got used to that, so I decided, I'm just going to write humor, write comedy. So I started writing for magazines, and I wrote a piece. It was a magazine called George Magazine that was around for a while. And I wrote a piece for them, and it was a humor essay, and it was a conspiracist view of American history in 600 words, okay? And back then at George Magazine in the early 90s, everyone that worked at George Magazine was founded by John F. Kennedy Jr. And everybody that worked at George Magazine back then was a 23-year-old woman who had either just had sex with John F. Kennedy Jr. or was about to have sex with John F. Kennedy Jr. So I get a call after I turn my piece in, and I'm going to do, the voice that I'm going to do is the same voice that I do from Heather. It's the only female voice I can, is like, "Hello, this is Sharon, I'm a fact checker. Hi, Sharon." She says, "I read your piece. It's very good." I said, "Thank you." She said, "I just had one question. Is it a known, documented fact that John Hancock died without life insurance?" And I went, "Sharon, that's a joke." And I never got used to the fact that just because you're not performing in front of a live audience, that doesn't mean people don't have the capacity to not get it. And, I wrote a piece for the New Yorker in the late 90s, and the piece was called Jerry Springer's Voicemail. And this is back when Jerry Springer was a huge show, and at the time Jerry was doing an interview on Larry King when Larry was still alive, and he said when Jerry was still alive, and he said that his show, which was huge, his show got 5,000 calls a day from people that wanted to be on the show. So I thought, well, this would be a great idea for a piece, Jerry Springer's Voicemail. People calling and pitching ideas. So that I read the piece, and the piece was something like, everybody was like, "Jerry, do you still do makeovers? My son is a Nazi skinhead. Could you make him over to be a Republican congressman? He's a 48 Husky." So something like that. So all things like that. So the piece comes out. My hand to God, the day it comes out, I get a phone call from the New Yorker. They say, "There's a guy in Ohio desperate to get in touch with you." I say, "Give my number." The guy calls me. I pick up the phone. "Hello." The guy says, "Yeah, hi. Do you know me?" I said, "No, you called me." He said, "Listen," he said, "I just read your piece in the New Yorker, and you used the name Martin Resnick? And I said, yeah. And he said, that's my father-in-law's name. I said, great, when can I tell you? I like the name Resnick. He says, no, wait. He says, the issue is dated March 12th, which is my wife and my wedding anniversary. So I want to know, did you do this whole thing as kind of a present to me and my wife? I said, oh, look, I don't know you. I've never met you. I like the name Resnick. Now the guy realized that perhaps he's been a little grandiose. It's a long pause. He says to me, so, what are you, like a writer? And I said, yeah, I'm also an actor, and I'm going to act like I'm hanging up. You keep talking. And I only have a couple minutes left, and I think it's always... I forgot to tell this story. I got interviewed before, and they asked me stories about Dave Letterman, and I forgot to tell this story, which doesn't have to do with Dave, but happened at the show. And we had Obama on after he was elected. He was the first sitting president ever to appear on our show. And so security was crazy, so everybody on the staff and on the audience, you could only enter through the front of the building. So I had to go, usually going from the stage door, so I go to the front of the building, and I got to go through the metal detector, and I got the artificial hip. And so I go through, and then the guy starts to warn me. Before I said, listen, I got the artificial hip, and he starts to warn me. And, he's smiling. All of a sudden, the smile disappears from his face, and he notices a bulge in my sport coat right here. And he says to me, what's in the pocket? And I knew it was in the pocket. I very sheepishly reached into my pocket and pulled out 50 packs of Splenda that I had stolen from the Starbucks. We have a Jew in Area A. Please, scramble. We have a Jew. I want to close. Here's two jokes you can take with you. They're two of my favorite jokes. Guy goes in for a job interview, and the interviewer says, tell me 3 good qualities about yourself. And the guy says, well, I'm a very hard worker, I'm never late, and I'm a very quick study. And the guy goes, then tell me 1 bad quality about yourself. And the guy says, well, I'm brutally honest. And the interviewer says, I don't think that's such a bad quality. And the guy says, I don't give a fuck what you think. Now here's a clean one you can take with you. My wife was Adrienne Tolsch. She was a wonderful comic. She went to heaven a couple of years ago. This is a joke she used to tell in her act. And it's a guy calls home. A woman answers the phone. The guy says, hello, is this the new maid? And the woman says, yeah. And he says, could you put my wife on the phone? And she says, I can't. He says, why not? She says, well, she's in the bedroom and she's having sex with the mailman. And the guy says, she is. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to go into the den, get the gun out of the top left-hand drawer of my desk. It's loaded. And I want you to shoot them both. Now, I'm a big lawyer. I'll get you off. Nothing will happen to you. Just do as I tell you. Just get the gun out of the top, it's loaded, and go and shoot them both. She puts down the phone. Guy listens and he hears 2 faint shots. Now the woman comes back, she says, okay, it's done. The guy says, okay, now what I need you to do, take both of the bodies, drag them down the stairs, and throw them in the pool in the backyard. And the woman says, there's no pool in the back. Wait a minute, is this 861-945? Listen, enjoy dinner for one. Thanks.